Hey guys, are you ready for an Arch Linux install guide? Okay, well, yeah, I get it. It's a little bit boring, but I mean, I hope that this can actually be fun for some of you. So, basically, here's a bit of an overview of what we're doing today. So, I'm gonna install Arch Linux as quickly and painlessly as I can. If you need to have the most up-to-date version of the installation guide, always use the Arch Linux install guide, link in the description. It is always the most up-to-date. This can go out of date eventually, and a lot of things do change, so always check there. Also, another thing is that this is obviously in a virtual machine, but this is a UEFI virtual machine, so it should be just like bare metal hardware. Yeah, so I guess let's just begin. Also, by the way, every command I run is in the description, so yeah, let's just get started. I mean, nothing gets me more excited than just installing Arch Linux for some reason. So we're gonna ping google.com. So this means that we have networking. So basically what pinging does is it checks to see if you can find the network. I'm using Ethernet, and you probably should, because Linux does not work very well out of the box, especially Arch, with wireless. If you are using Wi-Fi, as you can see on like the fourth line, use the iwctl utility to connect to Wi-Fi. I'm not going to go over that. Honestly, you should probably just use Ethernet for installing it at least. So next, we are going to basically set something for our time date. So this is changing a setting for timedatectl. I take it back. There's no space there. All right, that's good. So let's see if it works. So timedatectl status. So as you can see, it says ntp service active. So that means that worked. So now we're going to partition the disk. This is probably the scariest and most difficult part of installing it. I get it. Like, we went from like 0 to 100 in like a minute. But I mean, honestly, it's not that difficult if you get used to it. So just follow what I do. So fdisk-l. So as you can see here, /dev/sta is the disk that I want to install to. It's 32 gigs. I'm wanting to install to that. Don't be alarmed if you see /dev/nvme0 and it just gibberish. If you have an NVMe drive, it's going to display as /dev/nvme. It's functionally exactly the same. It doesn't matter at all. Don't be worried if you see it. So I'm going to do fdisk/dev/sda. So this is going to allow us to edit dev sda in fdisk. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to make a GPT partition table. If you're on a legacy system, you're probably going to want DOS. But I think you can still use GPT. GPT is basically DOS, but better. So I'm going to type G to create a GPT partition table. All right, so it did it. So next I'm going to want to make a partition. So I'm going to type in. All right, so partition 1, that's okay. First sector, it's fine. So the first partition, we're going to make the bootloader. So I'm going to do +550 in. So the bootloader is going to be 550 megabytes. All right, so it did that. It's partition 1, Linux file system. That's wrong. We'll fix that later. So I'll type in again. Partition 2, that's fine. First sector, that's fine. Plus 2G. So this is going to be our swap partition. So you're probably going to want to just take the amount of RAM you have in your system and half it. That's going to be the amount of swap you're going to need. So I'm going to hit enter. So it created that. So I'm going to do in partition 3, that's fine. First sector, that's fine. Last sector, just leave it as the default because we just want to give the rest of the disk to it. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to change the type of partition. We're going to type T partition 1. So this is going to be our bootloader. So I actually memorized like basically the numbers that we're going to need. So partition 1 is going to be 1. So that is EFI system. So we're going to change the partition type. We're going to do partition 2. For swap, it's 19. So as you can see, partition 1 is EFI, partition 2 is Linux swap. That is just what we want. So for the third partition, we don't need to change that at all, because that is just, like, it literally just needs to be a Linux file system, so that's completely fine. So we're going to hit W to write the table to disk and exit. Alright, so it wrote everything. That's good. So now we're going to do make file system .fat dash capital F 32 slash dev slash sda 1. So this is basically changing that bootloader to FAT32. There you go. So it did it. So now we're going to do make file system, make swap slash dev slash sda2. So this is turning our second partition into an actual swap partition. Done. So now we're going to do swap on slash dev slash sda2. Alright, enter. Alright, so the swap is now on. So now we're going to make an ext4 partition. Make file system .ext4 slash dev slash sda3. I take it back, there's no space there. That's better. Alright, so, you know, that just shows that, like, even the people who have used Arch before, they make mistakes. I was about to say even the people who know Arch, but, I mean, that would be a lie. So now we are going to mount our file system, so slash dev slash sda3. See, I keep making mistakes. Slash mmt, because that's where you're going to be mounting it to. So now that partition is mounted to slash mnt. So now we're just gonna pacstrap. So what pacstrap does is it just installs Linux basically. We're gonna pacstrap slash mnt base. So this is like Arch Linux. This is the kernel. You kind of need that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't. No, I'm joking. And then linux-firmware. You're going to have a bad time if you're missing any of these. Yeah, so let's install that. And it usually takes a minute or two to install. I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, there we go. It did it. So now we're going to type genfstab. And then we're going to type -u slash mnt. We're gonna put two right-facing things. So professional slash mnt slash etc slash fstab. So what fstab is basically a file that lists every device that is connected to your computer in terms of storage. It just tells the computer what it is. So there we go. It did that. So now we're going to arch-chroot into slash mnt. Alright, so now we are in. You can tell because it changed from root at arch-iso to root at arch-iso, but it's a different color. So, I mean, it did it. So we're going to hit clear. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to choose the region that we are in. So basically what you're going to do here to find your region is you're going to type ls-sf/user/share/zoneinfo/ and it's going to list every region that is available in terms of like country. So I am in America, so I'm going to type in America/ it's going to list everything there. So now that you know what you are in, to set your region, you're going to type ls-sf /share /zoneinfo /America /new_York. And then you're going to do /etc /localtime. So I forgot, you have to make a directory at /etc /localtime. Oh my gosh. There we go. So now I'm going to run that command. Now it actually ran it. All right, that's good. That's good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So now we're going to set the hardware clock. So hwclock. And then you're going to do /systohc. So this is basically synchronizing your PC with the hardware clock. All right. So now we're probably going to need to get like something to edit stuff with. So you could use Vim if you know what you're doing. Most new people are probably going to want to use Nano. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to use Nano. So pacman-s nano. So now we are going to edit using nano /etc /locale.gen. So basically what you're going to do here is you're going to find your language and you're going to uncomment the line before it. So en_us is what I'm looking for. So you're going to look for .utf8. You're going to uncomment that. You're going to hit Control X, hit Y, and then hit Enter. So that's what you do when you save it from Nano. So now you're going to type locale.gen, locale-gen. Oh my gosh. So now we're going to edit nano /etc /hostname. So this file should be empty. This is basically what the name of your computer will be. So let's say you wanted your computer to be dumb. Then that would be the name of your computer's hostname. Since I'm in a virtual machine and I'm not creative at all, I'm going to type in VM as my hostname. Because, you know, what a hostname, what a genius I am. Control X, Y, Enter to exit that. So now we are going to edit using nano /etc /hosts. So this is a bit confusing here. So you're going to want to remember exactly what you just did, because it's going to come in handy here. Basically, you're going to want to go onto the Arch wiki, and you are going to want to find this, and you are going to want to copy this over. I'll put this in the description also, but you're going to want to need this if you want to use anything that uses LAN. It's pretty essential. So let's start copying it over. So I'm going to type in 127.0.0.1. I'm going to tab over, and then I'm going to type localhost. Easy. So now I'm going to type that one. I'm going to tab over localhost. By the way, the amount of tabs does not matter. And then 127.0.1.1. You're going to tab over, and then you're going to put in your host name, so VM, and then you're going to type .local domain 1. Then you're going to tab over, and you're going to type your host name again. So now I'm going to hit Control X, Y, Enter to save, and now I am going to type in passwd. So what this does is this sets your root password. I'm gonna set it as like, I don't know, whatever. I don't even know. Well, I know what I set my password as, or I'd be screwed. So now you're gonna want to create a user. So you're gonna type user add -m, and then you type in the username you're gonna want. So hi. What a username. Oh my gosh. So now you're going to make a password for that username, and you're going to type in password hi. Alright, so now that we have created the password and the user, now we're going to want to add that user to a few groups so it can actually do stuff. So we're going to do user mod dash lowercase a capital G wheel audio and video. That's about all you'll actually technically need, but it's still probably useful to give it a few more groups, such as optical and storage. So once you've chosen all of those, you're going to type in your username. Hi. Alright. So also make sure that there's no spaces after each comma. So now we're going to get sudo, because yes, it's not included in Arch Linux. You actually need, wow, you actually need to install it. It isn't that difficult. So now we're going to do vi sudo, but don't hit enter yet, because that's the thing. Vi sudo uses vi, which, I mean, not many people use, and also it's not even close to beginner friendly. So we're going to tell it that we want to use nano. So type in all caps editor equals nano space vi sudo. So now we're going to uncomment the line that says %wheel all. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to allow every member of the wheel group to execute any command as root. Also, I don't really care about security because this is a virtual machine, but it's handy if you also don't care about security at all. So if you want to have people be able to execute a command as root without a password, then do that. Control X, Y, enter. Alright, now that we have done that, we are going to pacman-s grub EFI boot manager DOS FS tools OS-prober and mtools. Now this is basically everything that is going to allow you to, like, I mean, not essential things like boot to Arch Linux. So yeah, we're gonna hit Y to install it. Alright, so it's finished installing. So now we are going to make a directory at /boot/EFI all caps. Alright, so it created a directory. We are going to mount that directory dev/sda1/boot/EFI. Alright, so it has now been mounted. So now we're going to install grub. Like, yeah, I know, we just installed grub through pacman, but that doesn't mean it's actually installed. That just means you are able to install it, really. So grub-install --target equals x86_64-EFI --bootloader -id equals grub_UEFI --recheck. So what this command is going to do is it's telling it to install grub. It's telling it to install it for a UEFI partition for x86-64. Yeah. Hit that. Says no error reported. If it does have an error, then good luck. Now we're going to do grub-o/boot/grub/grub.cfg. So this is making a configuration file for grub. So now we're going to want to get a few programs. You're definitely going to want Network Manager for sure, because you might restart and you might not have internet anymore. So we're going to get that. And also, I'm going to get Git, just because I'd probably get it later anyway. So why? So now we are going to enable network manager so it will actually work. So systemctl enable capital N network manager. Alright, so now we can just reboot. After this, I'm actually going to show you guys how to install KDE Plasma. It's rather simple, but I mean, I might as well save you the extra Google search. So we're going to exit. We are going to unmount /mnt. We're going to add the -l flag to make it unmount. We're going to reboot. So we're going to boot into Arch Linux. If you got to this point, it is installed. Let's go. So now we are in.